Okay, hello, welcome back. It's another Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. This one should go up on Tuesday. And we are here with a new Marvel season. When I'm recording this, it is the 28th of August, so it is still pretty new for me. When this is coming out, it should be 14th of September, I think, is that Tuesday. I'm pre-recording just for future, just so I don't have to worry, because I'm going into sixth form. So I'm just going to well, not sixth, it's like a sixth form thing. But, I'm just pre-recording into the future, so I can see how this channel does. If it does good, I'll keep doing it and all that. So I'm just pre-recording like until maybe October, November. So I'm just doing this all today, getting all the pre-recording out. Today we are watching the new meta strats for this season. Obviously, I really want to do well this season. Hopefully, I have by now because I feel like in 3 weeks from now you'll be able to tell if I'm doing good or not. So yeah, let's see the new meta for the Marvel season, and we'll try and use this in the Duo Cash Cup, which is later today for me.
Season just dropped, and of course there's a crazy amount of new strats that you guys can be doing. So what I did is I hosted my own solo cash cup twice in the past 2 days. I gave away loads of money to figure out exactly what strats work best, what mobility items are best to carry, what mythics are best to go for, and of course what shotgun and what AR is best to use if you want to be doing well. I'm going to cover absolutely everything in this video, so please leave a like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it.
Get
Here's how
straight
to use
into
the
it.
jetpacks correctly.
Okay, jetpacks. They've already been removed, jetpacks, from tournaments. I don't know if they'd ever come back, so now it's just Flowberry. So I think we're going to skip past the jetpacks. It's kind of pointless learning how to use them if they aren't even in the meta anymore.
SMG, and you'll get straight in and you'll end up boosting behind them to get a free kill.
You'll get my shotgun.
Okay, he is still on about jetpacks. We need to skip the jetpack part.
Gun for the past chapter or so. Everybody's been using the Gatekeeper. It's unbelievably good. You can get away with just using Gatekeeper only, but how does it stack up compared to the
We
new
are just
shotgun
going to use the
Sovereign?
Gatekeeper
In my
this season
opinion,
as
I actually
well.
think
The Sovereign shotgun.
is slightly clear of the Gatekeeper, especially when you factor in that you've
That's
got
not
6
it. I don't
bullets.
think it's good. I don't like
the whole
it.
time. You can also reload 1 shell per time very effectively, as well as you get 9% more damage and then 15% more headshot damage. And this is just for the blue version. I put this up to legendary so you can see. Let's see, you've got really good loadout. The Sovereign shotgun can 2-shot body shot somebody, which is insanely OP considering the fire rate, as well as how quick this gun pulls out whenever you do an edit or a build. It allows you to play a lot more like 50-50 and basically just jump in boxes and hit 2 shots for somebody compared to the Gatekeeper. As well as you look, the headshot damage is massively increased, and you get double the amount of bullets, which is so good. Also, I do think the pump shotgun is still relatively viable this season. I
I
would
don't
take
think
pump
it's that
over
great.
a Sovereign, and to be honest, this season I would say
I think
majority of
Gatekeeper's the
time,
best
just
one
choose
by
the
far
shotgun that has the
still.
highest rarity, and I do think the Sovereign is clear. So let's say you've got all blue guns, you're not sure what to take, I would choose the Sovereign. I think it's way better. And honestly, the Gatekeeper is still unbelievably strong. You can run a Gatekeeper, especially if you get one of Drum Mag. It is really good. Also, one thing to mention quickly is the Sovereign with an underbarrel is really good because it allows you to ADS faster. Or a laser is extremely good because you get a tighter pellet spread. Or what you can do is actually get one with a scope plus underbarrel like that. And you can basically play like a quick ADS style. It's really good for looking front side of zone, getting tags on people. And it makes the Sovereign really strong. Alright, next up, let's talk about what secondaries you guys should be using. And to be honest, this is a lot
the
more
Striker
clear
AR
cut
is the
what
best,
viable.
in my opinion. That's why I want to run.
Is pretty terrible. I wouldn't really use that. The pistol can be viable, but I wouldn't take that over any of the other options this season. The Monarch pistol,
I think the
as well,
pistol, like the Monarch pistol, it's just a pocket DMR. It's quite good. I'm not very good at it yet, but I still need to learn to use it.
SMGs are extremely good for just W keying and box fighting, but they're not very viable for like a whole game. If you're playing a solo cash cup final, I wouldn't really use these unless you have an extra slot and you can use them for pressuring and box fighting. They are very good for that purpose, but they're not very good as just an overall only swap weapon. Instead, it's going to come down to between the Striker and the Striker Burst, commonly known as the AUG. And this is where I think it's really just a preference. I have seen with these guns, it really matters what attachments you have on them as well as the rarity. Like, let's say you've got rare AR versus a legendary AUG. Obviously, you're going to take the AUG every single day of the week. It comes down to the preference of what you want to use as well as what quality you get. I would say overall, the Striker Burst is by far the best gun, mainly because you get an insane amount of damage at range, especially when you have a good scope on it, something like that. Even a thermal, if you go to a bunker, you can get 0 recoil, which is kind of crazy. You can get laser on it very well. You can go ahead and get some attachments to make it ADS faster. You can get a suppressor on it as well, which is one that I had, was absolutely crazy. Nobody could hear it shooting from. You get 3 kills very easily. Depending on what attachments you get, can make or break these guns.
I think
So
I do
would
need
go
to
with
learn
whichever
about
gun is the
suppressor.
best quality,
Not suppressor,
as well
like
as
the
best
best
attachments, but favoring the
attachments.
Striker Burst, I think it's by far the strongest gun this season. Now, in terms of what heals you guys should be carrying, I think the Fizz is an absolute must.
Fizz is a
this
must,
season. Of course,
especially
you get
now with no
100 shield that you can
jetpack.
use any time. It's very good for fighting.
Basically,
as
the
well,
only
but you can
movement
combine
is
it with
Fizz now.
jetpack to do some crazy rotates, especially when you're doing high layer boosts. What you can do, the jetpack, is just doing a bunch of ramps up and then use your Fizz and get the entire.
I'm kind of
way
annoyed
to
they
zone.
removed
And as you can
jetpack.
see
It
right
was
there,
a good.
was
I did
pushing
like
to
it.
rotate the entire way to 8 zone just one fizz charge and then a couple uses of the jetpack, which is why the combination of it is so strong. Also, when you're carrying the fizz, you're not forced to use the jetpack for every single rotate. You can actually just use the fizz for regular rotates, like if you want to do a quick rotate on foot, like right here. He was in a pretty scuff spot. It's quite challenging to get out of his layer down on low ground when you're using a jetpack, so you can't go up too easily. So instead, what they did was just use the fizz, sprint and jump up, get themselves to a high layer, and now they're in a perfect spot to use jetpack charges. And this is where, again, using fizz and jetpack combined is so effective because you can basically just rotate this entire zone with just a couple jetpack boosts. If you guys are serious about getting better at competitive this season, then go check out Solo Superstars. Last season, we had an absolute ridiculous amount of players make their first earnings with it and being resubbed, as well as the other coaches like Zycoma.
Do want to make my first earnings this season? I really am tempted to buy this.
Meta and getting you guys as ahead of the meta as possible. I really recommend you check it out.
I am so tempted to buy this. It's only 50 quid, and I might just try it for a month, see if I get earnings.
Solo Superstars is definitely a massive help for that. One of the biggest grief and probably the most annoying thing about this season is the War Machine Arsenal. You can get infinite rockets when you're using this mythic item, and it's pretty common as well. Like, it's a 1 in 5
this got taken out as well.
Avengers chest, and it is insanely strong. Right here, I'm griefing much players holding edge of zone with it, and I was able to get a free kill from doing this at a timing when everybody has to move and nobody's boxed up.
There we go, we'll skip to here.
For the center zone very easily. So you need to be super aware that that can't happen. Like right here, everything looks fine, especially if you've got visual audio on, it helps, and they're able to get a couple free kills. But in a second, when zone swaps, they put themselves in an awkward spot. They should be playing edge of zone, so it's harder for people to make sure they're going underneath him. And then once you reconnect over other people's builds like this is when high ground gets very scuffed. What I'd recommend doing if you're playing height is staying super high up and just pressuring non-stop, so you don't get forced into angels versus people on second height who need a refresh.
Yeah, that's a weird spot. I do need to try and take height more this season.
Damage while they're using the jetpack. It's unbelievably strong. And then right here, their tarp is way too central over zone, which means that another player in a second is able to use the jetpack, come up behind them, and whenever you see that jetpack on your screen and you've got a tarp like this, so you can see there's a jetpack behind them, all you need to do is just box up, especially if you're low HP, otherwise somebody's just going to fly up on you from behind. It's a very good high ground take play you can do, sneaking below height and then jetpacking up on them, especially when you've got a good amount of mats. It's a really solid play to do, and it's very hard to counter. One of the best plays you can do this season is flanking height while playing medkits early. Especially if you're playing medkits like 30 seconds early, you've got no chance to win the game. This is a really solid play that you can do. Only issue is this player wasn't reloaded and it went a bit south.
Guys, fucking sorry.
One of the biggest changes this season is the reintroduction of the armored walls, especially
armored walls are good. They've been maxed out to 6 now, though, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if that's in solos as well, but 15 was way too much, especially in duos.
And this is the perfect time to use a preemptive armored wall, especially if you need to get heals off, or you just want to have a chill out and reload your guns for a second. Using an armored wall, especially an armored ramp like this, you can see here, placing an armored ramp to protect yourself from below, as well as basically 3 sides of zone, is insanely strong. Also, it's very good to make sure you're not getting awareness checked. If you've got cap armored walls or just a bunch of armored walls later on, don't be afraid to use them before you need to. Don't just save them until 1 HP and you're about to die before whacking down a load of armored walls. That is basically just a massive waste of them. Also with armored walls, especially during final moving, it's a really good play if you've got a bunch to do an armored tarp, especially if you've got a heal off and you don't want to get interrupted. Just whack down a load of armored walls, make sure you're protected. You can do this on height to make sure you don't get sprayed out, as well as down low ground. Just doing armored walls so you don't get jumped in on by a player who needs a refresh is really good. Alright, now that we've talked a little bit about the meta and just everybody can do, what
Where is he?
Can give you an advantage this season when it comes to
is that my mouse? No, it's his, okay.
Is still in the game, and it is still extremely strong.
Forecast is going to be so strong now without jetpack as well. I need to get forecast. We're getting it in duos, I mean chug one easy. We're getting in duos quite good, and we're grabbing bunker quite often. But we need to be getting, what's it called, forecast. Especially in solos, I need to be going for it.
But there's going to be a significant amount who do not. So having forecast and using that ability to know where zones are going to pull, especially the partial zones, is extremely strong, and it is a massive advantage. Next up, there's also 3 new medallions that have been added to the map, as well as
I feel like only good medallions are marked medallions. Cypher medallions are alright, but it's just sort of like
over at the Raft.
That's the best medallion.
Mythic AR, which is extremely good. It's not as good as, you know, the combat AR from last season, but it is still extremely good. It's by far the best AR in the game at the moment, as well as it gives you the reveal medallion. This thing is absolutely crazy. You know exactly where somebody is whenever you're having a mid-game fight. It'll ping them every minute or so, gives them a full body outline, so you know if they're healing, you know exactly where they are. But later on in the end game, you know exactly where people are if you need a refresh. It allows you to pre-aim perfectly, allows you to pre-edit perfectly, allows you to do so many plays, as well as it is extremely good for high ground. You know exactly where other players are, if there's somebody flanking you backside, there's somebody even up on high ground above you, or if you can take high ground for free. The mythic reveal medallion is going to be by
Reveal
far the
medallion,
best
so
sort of pros
good,
like
bro.
Peterbot and things are going to be going for. It is unbelievably crazy. I still cannot believe the player with the reveal medallion lost this right here. Look, it literally reveals exactly where the player is, what they're doing, what heals they're popping, and he still lost the 1v1, which is absolutely crazy. But that AR and the medallion is absolutely crazy, and I'd recommend you guys go for it if you're confident in doing so. Then there's also two other mythics that you can get from around
This
the
one
map. The
isn't good.
first of which is, of course, the Mysterio's Invis. And to be honest, this is a little bit gimmicky. I can see a lot of people dropping this in ranked. It's not really useful in that sense for keying or things like that. But later on into the game, this is actually a fairly useful medallion in my opinion. Mainly because you can just sort
It's
of
just that it
crouch
has
and
like
just go
pull out
super
time.
invis while you need to rotate, right? You can just rotate completely while invisible. People won't spot you,
It's not
especially if
worth
storm
it.
behind
I
you.
don't like
And
it. I'm
later
never
on, I
gonna
was
run it,
coaching
I'm
this
pretty
player and
sure.
telling them to just go invis down on low ground. This is actually, I would say, a fairly viable strat because other players aren't going to box fight you. They have no awareness on where you are, and they'll be getting a completely free kill while doing this later on. Also, with this Invis medallion, is you get the mythic shotgun, which unfortunately this player didn't get. Is basically just a better sovereign shotgun, better stats. Nothing too crazy with it. It's definitely not like the Grim shotgun,
I think the only
where it's
good thing of
absolutely
this is if
insane.
you have like low
However, it is
mats,
still a really good
solo
shotgun,
victory
probably
cup
the best
finals, you
shotgun in
have
the
good
game
medkits and
at
you
the
just
moment
need to
with
like
this
survive a bit
Mysterio. Then,
longer
of
until
course,
it
we have
closes.
Doctor
That's
Doom,
the
who's
only
the
time
Mod
this is
Pistol,
good.
which is fairly crazy, as well as the Siphon Gauntlet. Again, Siphon isn't too crazy. I would say it's not as good as the Invis, especially because Invis has more plays you can do. You can sneak into tarps. This player was able to win the game just from sitting down on low ground while invisible. And of course, the Emma Frost Reveal Medallion is by far the best medallion in the game. I think it's going to be, the main factor that allows me to win
Emma
games, just because
Frost
it allows you
medallion,
to get
so good
refreshes so
though.
much easier. Again, Mysterio, not super crazy, but there definitely is some plays that you can do with it, like the sneaking into tarp clip right here.
Wait, let me do something.
Oh my god.
Should I go in their box and see if I can get behind them and get the viral
No,
clip?
don't.
Oh my god!
Kill him. Can you?
Come now. Oh my god!
Is a good play though, to be fair. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.